Woke up from a nap. I transmigrated into 100 billion rich villain boss. But before I could enjoy the sudden wealth and status, the villain system poured cold water on me, detecting host's fate. You will, because of being overprotective. Your disastrous son will be used as a stepping stone by the protagonist, ultimately dying miserably under the overpass. Hearing this, I glanced at the bed where the brat was still shouting, "My dad is Ching Tia, you idiot son." I slapped him twice, silencing the whole scene. You've disgraced the Chin family enough. Ding Nushin. Unfilial son changes storyline. Reward, divine uniqueness technique. Seeing there is such a good thing. My gaze at my son grew increasingly intense. And a few minutes ago, I had just transmigrated. After clarifying everything, the front seat driver whispered, "Boss, we've arrived at Shinhai Hospital." I looked up and saw the driver Li Jun, with a line of blue text floating above his head. Loyalty, 90%. Good, at least there's someone reliable. According to the original plot, this Li Jun would die taking a bullet for him. Four men in black suits stood in a row outside the car, their faces full of murderous intent. Passers-by turned to look. Murdering, that's President Chen of the Chin Group. He looks even more impressive in person than on TV. I heard his son was beaten and hospitalized. He must be visiting him. I kept a blank expression. Amidst a crowd of envious and awed gazes, I walked toward the VIP inpatient building. Just as I reached the ward door, I heard a pig-like squeal from inside. It hurts like hell. Believe it or not, I'll have my dad fire your whole family. Don't you know who my dad is? Kingshan. The whole of Quming City does everything according to his will. If you dare touch a single hair on my head, you won't be able to stay here ever again. Outside the door, my temple was pounding. It was that idiot again, that Jinx who keeps causing trouble. A born disaster for his own father. I shoved the door open and walked in. As soon as crossing Shiji saw me, his face changed instantly. Tears and snot were all over his face. You have to avenge me. Dad, that hillbilly broke my leg. I want to chop him into pieces. Look at this filthy mess. His face was so pathetic, it couldn't even be propped up against a wall. Thinking how I would lose everything in the future because of him, and die without a complete corpse. Anger flared up inside me. Then, under the stunned gazes of the doctor and bodyguards, I rushed forward in a few steps, raised my arm, and slapped Shin Shiji hard across the face. "What are you wailing about? You've disgraced the Chin family," I said coldly, my words like ice shards hitting the ground. Shin Shiji covered his face, his eyes wide open. "Dad. You hit me. That's because you deserve it, you waste." I swung my hand back and slapped him again. "Yell one more time, and I'll break your other leg too." Ding Nushin. A prodigal son successfully deviated from the main plot. The rebellious heir of 300 first broke the predetermined fate. Reward, novice gift pack divine unique skill. System notifications popped up one after another. Before I could react, a huge surge of information was directly poured into my brain. The divine unique skill was ridiculously overpowered. Hundreds of deadly poison formulas. All are colorless and odorless. Impossible to detect. Casually opened the system panel and glanced at the hairstyle. Aside from his charm value, everything else was below the standard for a normal male. I think it's very reasonable that the charm value is capped at 500. But why is the aura only 100 points? At this moment, the system also provided feedback. Because of the destined protagonist, the host's fortune will gradually be drained by him. Fortune is something intangible. You can't see or touch it. Yet it is the key factor determining success or failure. What exactly can system antagonist points be used for? I continued to ask in my mind. The host can exchange for real-world resources in the antagonist mall, or accumulate 1,000 points to start a lottery draw. Obtain enhanced skills or rare items. My eyes lit up. There really is a mall button in the interface. I clicked on it and took a look. The most conspicuous thing at the front was cash exchange, 1 point for 100,000 Longguo currency. There was also equity exchange, 1,000 points. Exchange for a 1% stake in Yichang. Seeing this ratio, my heartbeat suddenly accelerated, meaning the 2 slaps I gave my son earlier were equivalent to a free deduction of over 30 million for me. Feeling the massive influx of knowledge into my mind, and looked at his stupid son, who was so scared he fell into a winter cicada silence. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold and fierce arc. Then he sat down on the sofa in the ward as if he owned the place. "Alright, now talk. What exactly happened?" Shin Shiji, by his father's sudden calmness, was completely bewildered. What do you want me to say? What else could there be? The course of events. If you don't explain everything clearly, how am I supposed to clean up your mess? Both of you are rich heirs born with silver spoons. SOY, is this kid unbelievably stupid? After saying that, I glanced at Yun Lijun. He immediately got the hint. A few seconds later, the doctor was politely shown out. The door was shut tight without a crack. Seeing that his father actually intended to back him up, Shin Shiji immediately started pouring out his grievances, exaggerating without holding anything back. 10 minutes later, my face was so dark you could squeeze ink from it. Turns out this kid was flirting with some girl on the street, got stopped on the spot, and then a fight broke out. The bodyguards were all beaten down, and his own leg was kicked and broken. A country bumpkin who just got to town a few days ago managed to be professionally trained bodyguards to a pulp, and even casually broke the leg of the eldest young master of the Chin family. No need to think twice. That guy is probably the kind of chosen one character. Dad, you have to get justice for me. Senior sister Chin clenched her teeth. Breaking my leg is slapping your face. That guy is too fierce. No ordinary person can handle him. Better find a ruthless person to shut him up. I roared directly and cut her off. Since when do you get to teach me to hire a hitman? Are you out of your mind? Hearing my son's increasingly absurd words, I was so angry my temples were throbbing. Only someone this dim-witted would come up with such a stupid idea. Anyone with a normal brain would realize this is just feeding experience points to the protagonist. It's all the same old routine. I took a deep breath, forcing down my anger. I'll handle this. You just lie still and recover from your injuries. Don't meddle. Thanks, Shin Shiji. He just grinned. I waved my hand. Stay out of trouble for now. If you dare to pull any tricks behind my back, I'll personally break your other leg for you. Shin Shiji shrank his neck. Looking aggrieved, he agreed. Oldly, go get the doctor in charge of this ward. With that, I sat down on the sofa and waited quietly. Not long after, Li Jun returned with the attending physician and two nurses. Mr. Chen, you called for me. The doctor's voice was trembling, afraid that any wrong word would get him into trouble. I didn't even lift my eyelids. I simply tossed out, just treat him properly. Don't indulge his unreasonable demands. The doctor hurriedly nodded, cold sweat beading on his forehead. He hadn't expected that such a wealthy and powerful father would say something like that. All right, Oldly, let's go. Wait, Dad, it's her. It's that woman. Seeing that his father was about to leave, Shin Shiji suddenly screamed. I turned to look. My son was pointing at the young nurse beside the doctor. I gave her a quick once-over. The girl was about 5'3" or so, wearing a white nurse's uniform, without a mask on her face. Her eyebrows were curved. Her small face was pointed and delicate, her skin white as freshly squeezed milk. With that look, she must be exactly the heroine type, right? Your leg was broken because of her, I said flatly. High blood pressure makes people breathless, right? Dad, I'd recognize you even if you were burned to ashes. Shin Shiji itched with hatred. Tangzu stood there and let out a soft sigh. He specially took a half day off today to go shopping at the mall, but ended up encountering this idle rich kid, harassing him endlessly. If it weren't for a young man from out of town who stepped in to break it up, he probably wouldn't have been able to get away. Who would have thought that villain with the broken leg was actually the son of this man before him? Even more absurd, this person turned out to be Kingshin, since she had already been called out by name. Tangzu simply stopped hiding and snorted. Fancy meeting you here. Shin Shiji sneered. Now my dad is here. None of you are getting away. Why should I run? It was clearly you who started it. Tangzu straightened her back without flinching. So what if I started it? Who told him to meddle? Shin Shiji looked disdainful. Tangzu's face turned red with anger. Then you deserve the beating. Shut up. Isn't it embarrassing enough? I coldly glanced at Shin Shiji. I lowered my voice to a whisper. Although from what the son said, it was because he failed to win a girl and got beaten. But having read all kinds of Dragon King Returns novel plots, I could guess the truth with my toes. With that in mind, I turned to look at Tangzu. My tone softened a bit. Young lady, what's your name? I'm Tangzu. Tangzu felt a bit nervous under his gaze. She regretted it as soon as she said it. Why is he asking for my name? He's not going to take revenge on me, is he? I drooped my eyelids. Slowly, I recited my name. I raised my hand and pinched my brow. The name sounds acceptable. You don't have to tremble either. I'm a person with discretion. I'm clear about today's mess. You didn't cause this trouble. I won't put the blame on you. All right, Oldly, let's go. With that, I clasped my hands behind my back and turned to leave. A group of people stood dumbfounded in the ward. No one dared to utter a sound. Behind him, Shin Shiji was so angry his teeth itched. In his heart, he kept cursing his father for being a coward. He didn't show any authority at all. And Tangzu, who had just been trembling with fear, instead stood frozen on the spot after hearing this. Merged with previous, the little tyrant who was so notoriously rumored outside. His own father turned out to be so reasonable. Could he be just pretending and then settle the score later? Soon after, I had already arrived outside the inpatient building. I opened the back door of the Rolls-Royce and got in. As soon as I settled in, I spoke to Li Jun in the front seat. Old Li, leave to people to watch Shin Shiji. Don't let him cause more trouble in his rage. Also, investigate that kid who threw the punch. And also what's the background of Tang Zu's family. Find that out while you're at it. Li Jun was stunned for a moment. He immediately nodded. Understood, President Chen. I'll arrange it right away. As he said that, he took out his phone and quickly made 2 calls. He was busy with that. Suddenly a cold voice exploded in my ear. An icy voice successfully suppressed the noisy commotion. Fate appeared in the plot. Villain value plus 100. Improve the female lead Tang Zu's negative impression of the host. Slight disturbance of the fate line. Villain value plus 300. Recovered 10 points of lost fortune. What's that? Just saying a few words can earn points. Thinking of this, I opened my personal attribute panel. Besides the 10 points added to fortune, everything else was still at a weak level. System, can those values be increased? The system calmly reminded, fortune can only be taken from the protagonist. When your stats reach twice the opponent's, you can directly erase the target. Got it. What about the others? For example, body stats, accuracy, charisma and such, the host can redeem with villain value. Shop items for self-enhancement. My eyes lit up at once. I immediately called up the interface and looked down through it. 1000-year Ganoderma, 500 points. Nourishing Origin and Consolidating Foundation Pill, 1000 points. All are legendary grade top items. The price is also frightening. I temporarily put it aside and didn't buy. For now, the most important thing is to save up 1000 points. Drawing a big prize once is more cost effective. The love-struck guy made a move, but that kid is still investigating. However, regarding Tang Zu, things have been sorted out. In the evening, in a single-family villa at the foot of Lishan Mountain, Li Jun handed over a document with both hands. I took the document and quickly scanned through it. Couldn't help but sigh that money really makes things happen. Tang Zu is just an intern doctor. Simple background, but I only arranged it at noon, and it was ready within 3 hours. After reading it once, I nodded slightly. It really is him, President Chin. There's something wrong with Tang Zu. Li Jun looked completely confused. It's no use explaining it to you. You wouldn't understand anyway. I waved my hand. Go get some rest first. I'll call you if there's any movement tonight. Li Jun bowed and left. The spacious living room was left with only me. I slumped onto the sofa, muttering to myself, so this is one of the heroines. The heroines in urban romance novels never come alone. According to the info, Tang Zu's family has been in traditional Chinese medicine for generations. Her grandfather has a great reputation in Quming. I can basically figure out the male lead follows the mountain village miracle doctor route. Classic trope, popping out of a remote valley, reuniting with relatives or breaking an engagement, and incidentally saving a beauty and taking her home. No wonder they gave me that one-of-a-kind technique. Turns out I need to get ready to fight some big shot. Not bad. The corners of my mouth curled up. Just changing his impression earned me 300 points. If I actually win him over. At the same time, Tang Zu from Shanghai Hospital had just gotten off work. She felt completely drained. Zilin, go boil some water quickly. Lizu will be here any minute. Inside the Tang family's Chinese medicine clinic, old TCM Dr. Tang Dexuan sat upright in his chair. Tang Zu had just parked the car when she heard from inside her grandfather's unusually warm greeting. Why is Grandpa being so polite today? Who exactly is coming? Tang Zu's steps slowed down. Sneaking into the house, the conversation inside the house was clearly audible. Don't bother. I'm not in a hurry. It was a young man's voice, casual in tone, but somehow it felt familiar. Tang Zu's heart suddenly skipped a beat. She rushed through the door in a few quick steps. There were 2 people sitting in the living room. On one side was Tang Dexuan, whose fame under Qiu Mingxi was well known. On the other side was a young man dressed casually, slouching like a lazy bones on the red sandalwood chair, hands clasped behind his head. Jiao, you're home. Come here. Grandpa wants to introduce a friend to you. This is Ling Feng. Before the old man finished, their eyes had already met. It's you, little sis. What a coincidence we have. Tang Zu's face was full of shock, but Ling Feng was grinning in his usual roguish way. Tang Dexuan looked left and right, completely confused. You 2 already know each other. Tang Zu grabbed her bag and pulled her grandpa aside to the corner. Grandpa, why is he here? She didn't even listen to the introduction. Her eyes were glued, staring at the young man sprawled out lazily. The old man was puzzled. Zilin is the son of my old benefactor. This time he came down from the mountain on some business and will be staying at our place for a few days. Is there something wrong? There's plenty wrong. Tangzu gave a step-by-step detailed explanation, quickly telling him exactly what happened this morning, from beginning to end. What, really? Tang Dexuan's beard was trembling with anger. This kid actually broke young Master Qin's leg. This is too reckless. I saw it with my own eyes. It's true. If you don't believe me, ask him. Tangzu pointed toward the sofa. The old man shakily looked at Lingfeng. That person didn't even bat an eye. He spoke hurriedly. No need to ask. I heard everything. That's right, I'm the one who broke Shin Shiji's leg. What should we do now? Tang Dexuan's legs went weak, and he nearly fell right there. Zilin, the Qin family is no pushover. I'm afraid I won't be able to protect you. Why don't you leave Qiming and Lilo for a while? Lingfeng gave a sarcastic laugh. Old Tang, you worrying too much. He's nothing more than a spoiled brat who only knows how to eat, drink, whore, gamble. Just a prodigal son. No matter how tough the Qin family is, they can't harm a single hair on me. If they dare to come looking for me, I won't drag you into it. The meaning was crystal clear. In his eyes, the Qin family was utterly insignificant. This time, when he came down from the mountain, his main purpose was to find his childhood betrothed fiancée. How could he run away with his tail between his legs over such a trivial matter? As soon as he said this, Tangzu's heart was in turmoil. She still didn't know how powerful Lingfeng was. All she knew was that this trouble had started because of him. If the Qin family traced things back and came knocking, they would definitely take it out on the Tang family first. At 7 p.m. sharp, I stood in the hall of the Lishan villa. I couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Such a large mansion, and I'm the only one guarding it. It's like watching over a grave. Just as I was lost in thought, my phone suddenly rang. Boss Qin, Li Chun's voice came from the other end. We found the person who hurt the young master. Ziliu saw it with his own eyes. He's at Tang Dexuan's Chinese medicine clinic, chatting and laughing with old man Tang. They're very close. I understand. My tone was flat. Should I have Ziliu gather a few more brothers? Go grab that kid directly. Li Jun said coldly. No, absolutely not. I immediately stopped him. That guy took down the bodyguards. He's no ordinary person. No matter how many people you call, it's useless. We absolutely can't play by his rules. This guy is hard to deal with. Bringing more people is a waste. You go report this to the police right now. Report to the police? Li Jun was stunned. His mouth was wide open. Yes, report to the police. I said calmly. We are law-abiding citizens. Our son's leg was broken by someone. What's wrong with reporting it? Despite having a belly full of doubts, Li Jun still hung up and went to carry it out. Meanwhile, Director Zhongzhen received the news and was stunned on the spot. He didn't have time to think much. He immediately assembled his team. Director, what happened? The officer on duty, Liu Ruoxi, in a neat uniform, emanated an intimidating aura. Seeing the leader's stern expression, immediately perked up. It's a big matter. Of course it's a big deal. Zhongzhen's tone was very impatient. Fair weather. Don't you know that person from the criminal group? Yes, I know him. A model entrepreneur. Who doesn't know a news celebrity? That's right. His son had his leg broken by someone this morning. The person has been identified. You lead a team to catch whom? There's such a thing? I guarantee to complete the task. After saying that, Liu Ruoxi put away the documents. Immediately arranged personnel. One team to check surveillance. The other team headed straight to the Tang family medical hall. At the same time, in the Lishan villa, suddenly a voice popped into my head. Host, you didn't follow the script. Disrupted the original development. Sees back 30 luck points. Villain points increased by 800. Detected that villain points have reached the standard. Do you want to unlock the system lottery? I silently chanted in my heart. Draw skill. Draw complete. Congratulations, host. You have obtained 10 years of Kung Fu Foundation. Current situation. I was slightly stunned. In this day and age, people actually train internal energy. Absolutely true. The protagonist, when treating a severely wounded person, relies entirely on this thing to keep him alive. Well, the protagonist is indeed a cheater. Thoughts wandered. I silently chanted in my heart. Claim. The next moment, a surge of heat exploded from my navel. Whoosh, it rushed through my limbs and bones. Claim successful. Received Inner Forbidden's Crown Main Golden Bone plus 20. Essence, Che, Spirit plus 5. Ling Yuan Che plus 30. Huh? My whole body felt electrified. I clenched my fists, muscles twitching uncontrollably. Strength is far greater than before, not just a little. Even more, it feels like the data panel has been refreshed. Although the lottery cost 1,000 points, but this sudden surge in return was a huge gain. At least I'm not a weakling anymore. Oh, and I was just enjoying my reading. I suddenly remembered. I formally raised my hand and pressed the call button on the wall. Luo Feng. Come here. Butler Feng's real name is Feng De. In his early 50s, still walking with a brisk wind. Usually lives in the small house in the front yard. Manages all the chores of the entire villa. Young master, what are your orders? Within 2 minutes, Butler Feng appeared before you. I first glanced at the loyalty meter above his head. 91%. Steady, as expected of an old servant who served the Qin family for 2 generations. Confirming no issues. I directly got to the bottom, grabbed a pen, and scribbled a full page. Prepare the items on this list as soon as possible. Butler Feng took it and looked. His face turned pale instantly. To packets of silver needles, poison of the venomous centipede, scorpion leaf, snake fang powder. Young master. The acupuncture tools at the front are still normal, but the rest are all highly toxic materials. Don't ask me. I have my own uses. Understood. I'll go handle it right away. Butler Feng bowed and exited. I collapsed back into the sofa. These things sound terrifying. But to you, they are just daily expenses. I looked around the bright, spacious house. Now that it's done, I actually feel bored and restless. Might as well find some fun. At the same moment, outside the Tang family's community, police lights flashed blue and chaotic. Lin Feng had just eaten a full meal and wanted to go downstairs to digest. He ran straight into Liu Ruoxi as she got out of the car. His eyes suddenly lit up. Liu Ruoxi saw him staring straight at her. Her brows immediately knitted into a knot. The face matched the photo exactly. He walked straight over with 2 officers. Name's Lin Feng, smiling cheekily. Pretty police lady, asking me. Otherwise, is there a second person here? That slick tone made Liu Ruoxi even more annoyed. How was he to know this was the classic protagonist opening routine? My name is Lin Feng, officer. What's the matter? Someone accused you of intentional injury. Come back with us for investigation. Xing Feng was dumbfounded on the spot. What the hell? Before he could finish, the 2 cops flanked him from left and right. Wait, officer. Are you sure you've got the right guy? He sensed something was wrong. His expression instantly turned shocked. You have water in your brain. You know what you did, don't you? Come with us. Liu Ruoxi didn't give him any chance to argue. As soon as she finished speaking, she reached out to grab him. According to the original script, this good-looking, skilled police beauty was supposed to be an important character who appeared later. But now, because Kingshan had butted in, the timeline was all messed up. Lin Feng ran into her ahead of time. At this moment, Lin Feng hadn't had time to build connections or use big relationships to make a name for himself. Without anyone backing him, in front of the police, he lacked that pretentious confidence. That's exactly why you can wildly consume. Villain points, now being detained on the street. Lin Feng's brows knit into a knot. His mind was racing fast. A few seconds later, he simply gave up resisting. Don't trouble the 2 officers to take action. I'll walk myself. Lin Feng was handcuffed and taken away. When Tang Dexuan heard the news, he nearly jumped out of his chair. Grandpa, Tang Zhu quickly chimed in. I was just about to go shopping, and I happened to see the police car stop him and take him away. How could this happen? Tang Dexuan panicked. Zhao, hurry. Come with me to the police station right now. Let's go now. Tang Zhu thought it was a bit exaggerated, but after thinking it over, she nodded and agreed to go. The news that Liu Ruoxi had taken Ling Feng away spread faster than the wind. Within a few minutes, director Zhang Zhen also got wind of it. To stabilize the situation, Zhang Zhen immediately called the driver, Li Jun. When I heard that, I was just idly counting the cracks in the ceiling. That perked me up right away. Without a second word, I called Li Jun, stepped on the gas and headed straight to the police station. As soon as the Rolls-Royce door opened, a group of young officers hurried over to greet me. Whoa, hello Mr. Chen. Everyone's been working hard. I waved my hand casually. That really startled the officers. Such a big shot, with absolutely no airs at all. Mr. Chen, this way, please. A young officer snapped to attention, and immediately took the lead to guide me. Seeing this, I leisurely followed along with Li Jun. So you admit that it was you who did it? Ling Feng grinned. He shrugged his shoulders. Even if I don't admit it, what can you do? I did it, so I'll own up to it. Liu Ruoxi was so angry her teeth itched. This guy clearly stepped in to save someone, but he was mercilessly harsh, and he acted like he didn't care at all. This sloppy attitude made her blood boil. Just then, I pushed open the interrogation room door and walked in. I happened to witness this scene. My eyes landed on Liu Ruoxi's face. At that second, my heart skipped a beat. This female police officer had fair, clean skin. Her delicate face looked like it stepped out of a painting, and her figure was perfectly curvaceous. In a group of police officers, she was simply exceptionally beautiful. More importantly, she was interrogating the protagonist, Damn. Isn't this the standard female-led template? I inexplicably let the protagonist run into another female lead. I was only thinking about using Tangzu to farm villain points. How could I remember the standard setup of urban novels, which always includes a beautiful police officer? If I had known, I wouldn't have called the police even for 10,000 villain points. Just how strong is this system's fate anyway? I couldn't help roaring inside. Scanning target. Name, Lin Feng. Fortune value, 3,753. Confirmed as Child of Destiny. Seeing this, I was speechless. Over 3,700. I don't even have a fraction of that. I'm convinced, completely convinced. Liu Ruoxi saw me enter, and quickly straightened up with her colleague, saying, "Are you Mr. Chin?" "Yes, I am." I didn't want to pay any attention to Ling Feng at all. I turned my head and looked directly at Liu Ruoxi. "Officer Liu, you should know why I'm here, right?" "Understood." Liu Ruoxi responded, "Mr. Chin, can we go somewhere else and talk?" "No problem. See you." She agreed readily. Liu Ruoxi breathed a slight sigh of relief. Then she led you to an office. I didn't stand on ceremony either. I pulled out a chair and sat down across from her. "Mr. Chin, about this morning's incident. We have basically figured out the situation. The cause was that your son first." Liu Ruoxi told the whole story of what she knew in detail. "That's roughly how it went, Mr. Chin. What do you think would be an appropriate way to handle it?" After speaking, Liu Ruoxi glanced at you out of the corner of her eye, as if testing your attitude. The room was quiet for a while. Only then did you slowly speak. "The results of your investigation are pretty much the same as what I've learned. Don't keep looking at me to gauge my reaction either. Let justice take its course. I am a law-abiding person. I just want some justice." Hearing this, Liu Ruoxi was a bit surprised. After all, this wasn't a huge disturbance. Given your background with the Quming family, it would be easy for you to suppress it. Thinking this, Liu Ruoxi said, "In my experience, for this kind of thing, it's best if both sides sit down and talk first. If it can be settled privately, that's certainly the easiest way." I listened and curled the corner of my mouth. I laughed out loud. "Officer Liu, tell me, how should we settle this privately? Do I, as an elder, have to calmly discuss it with a junior? How much compensation?" Liu Ruoxi was stunned for a moment. "Yeah, this man's money piles up like a mountain. He wouldn't care about Ling Feng's petty compensation. All right, don't dwell on it." I stood up directly. "I'll have my lawyer handle this matter." Seeing Liu Ruoxi at a loss, I simply rose and took my leave. It would be interesting to see someone like Ling Feng locked up for a few days. Just thinking about it is amusing. Let's leave it at that for now. I have things to do, so I won't stay longer. "Thank you for your trouble." I extended my hand, with a very polite tone. "No, it's nothing. It's our duty." Liu Ruoxi was a bit stunned. Reflexively, she reached out and shook my hand. At that moment, I only felt her hand, cold and soft. How strange, watching you really leave the police station with the driver. Liu Ruoxi looked bewildered. Zhao Lishuo, since he knows Lin Feng was arrested, shouldn't he have used connections to put pressure first? Why did he bother to come personally to the interrogation room? Lin Feng was originally prepared to clash with you head-on, but when you came, you didn't even give him a glance. At that moment, Lin Feng almost couldn't catch his breath. HMPH, one day, I'll make you Qing family members kneel and beg me. What a man can't stand most is being ignored. This thoroughly stirred up his ruthless streak. Outside the police station, you haven't left yet. At that moment, an inconspicuous Buick sedan slowly stopped nearby. Two people got out of the car. One of them you even know. "Yo, young lady, our connection is really deep. We even meet at the police station." You didn't rush to get in the car. Instead, you smiled and went over to Mr. Chin. Hello. Tangzu saw it was you. His face immediately changed. He even stammered, "What's the matter?" Seeing me like I'm a ghost, you squinted your eyes. Your tone carried a hint of teasing. "I, old man Tang Dexuan, greet CEO Chen." Tangzu opened her mouth to introduce. Tang Dexuan quickly stepped forward with a flattering smile. "I have lived a life of integrity. I know you, Zhu Ming, are a famous DCM doctor. I heard your medical skills are quite extraordinary. CEO Chen flatters me." Tang Dexuan hurriedly lowered his head. "What flattery is there? I have long heard of your reputation. By the way, old sir, what brings you here?" Your words are purely a deliberate rhetorical question, but it made old man Tang's heart tighten. He simply didn't believe that you didn't know Ling Feng has a connection with him. In other words, the other party was testing his attitude. Old man Tang had been around all his life. He knew the ways of the world well. He immediately understood. He quickly spoke, "Mr. Chen, I'm terribly sorry. I only heard last night about that young Master Lin having a dispute with young Master Lin. Young Master Lin just arrived in Quming City, unfamiliar with the people and the place. A momentary impulse is hard to avoid. I also ask you to be magnanimous and let it go. Show leniency and let him off this once. Tang Dexuan is indeed a remarkable figure. There are several layers of meaning hidden in his words. First, he said he only learned about it in the evening. He distances himself by claiming he's not an accomplice. He didn't tip him off in advance. Then he mentions that Lin Feng just arrived, implying their relationship is not deep. It's just old business. He clearly came to plead on his behalf, yet he appears humble and submissive, as if he's backing down. He draws a clear line without offending either side. It serves three purposes at once. I smiled and said, Mr. Tang, I don't understand what you mean. I, Kingshan, am just an honest businessman. My son was beaten up. All I can do is call the police. You ask me to show mercy, as a law-abiding citizen. Where do I have the right to meddle in official matters? But there's no need for you to worry. Those who are wrong will bear the responsibility. In this matter, my son started it. I won't wrong anyone, nor will I take it out on others. As for this time, the dispute between my son and that Lin Feng, I trust the police will handle it fairly. Don't you agree? Tang Dexuan was left speechless, unable to say a word. Seeing this, I waved my hand and said, I'll take my leave. I have things to do. You take your time. Then I nodded at him. I turned around and got into the back seat of the Rolls-Royce. The movement was swift and decisive, leaving no room for negotiation. Only no one saw, just before I closed the door, a faint cold smile crept up at the corner of my mouth, trying to turn a big issue into a small one, and a small one into nothing. Old Mr. Young is too naive. We finally got this guy in here. There's no way we're letting him out so easily. Old Lee, make a call to Deng Junchu. Give this case to him. Find a way to put this kid away. Understood, President Chen. Although Old Lee was puzzled inside, he couldn't understand the boss. Why insist on handling this through official channels? The news quickly reached Deng Junchu. After hearing the whole story, he slapped his thigh and said Lin Feng would definitely be going to prison this time. Although Qin Shiji threw the first punch and was wrong, Lin Feng's combo was just too vicious. The guy only swung a fist, and you turned around and kicked him several meters away. Beating down his bodyguards wasn't enough. You had to go up and deliberately stomp on Qin Shiji's shinbone until it broke. That kind of finishing move clearly left him no way out. The evidence is right in front of us. Every single charge hits the mark. If he still can't be sent to prison, then he might as well quit this business. You got home at 9 p.m. Before you even sat down on the sofa, the doorbell suddenly rang. Then Butler Feng's voice came through. Young master, Miss Mu has arrived. Hearing that, I frowned. Please let her in. Mu Dai stepped through the door, moving briskly. She is Kingshan's personal secretary, named Murong Dai, but everyone usually calls her Mu Dai. Her black hair was tied up in a bun, and she wore black framed glasses, white blouse with a black skirt, stockings and high heels on her legs, walking with a gust of wind. He stood still in the living room, with a respectful tone. I glanced up and down, gave a faint hum and said, go ahead. After the original owner's wife left, he had some close female friends outside, but Mu Dai was never among them. Was she not beautiful enough? Not really. The key is, this woman is resilient. The company can't do without her. Kingshan, no matter how wild, wouldn't destroy such a pillar, just for momentary pleasure. Mr. Chin, let me brief you on tomorrow's schedule and the recent work. I nodded. The originally scheduled executive meeting for today has been postponed due to the young master's matter, changed to tomorrow at 10 a.m. Additionally, President Su of the Su Group invites you to dinner at the Dahao Hotel tomorrow at 5 p.m. to discuss the details of the cooperation between the Qin and Su families. This is the itinerary. Do you want to take a look? He said. There's a piece of paper on the ground, in classical Chinese. I waved my hand. Headache, no need. Just handle it well. Okay, Mr. Qin. Here is also a project document for the West City real estate. Immediately after, he updated me on the work progress of the past few days. After about an hour, he took his leave. And I finally ended my first day after time travel. The CEO life. The next morning, I showed up at the company on time, ready to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, Ling Feng had spent the night at the police station. He had just heard that he might go to jail. He was completely dumbfounded on the spot. Early in the morning, Deng Junchu arrived and announced 2 charges against him. Excessive self-defense, intentional injury. Altogether, he would at least be locked up for 2 or 3 years. Ling Feng's eyes turned cold. In his heart, he had already sworn a bloody revenge against the Qin family. As much as he hated it, he could not think of any way to break the current situation. Brother Lin, I'm really sorry. Tang Dexuan, full of guilt, said, This is not your fault. It's my fault for not seeing things clearly. Lin Feng spoke lightly, but he was actually not happy inside. The Qin family wants me to rot in jail. No way. As soon as he said that, his mind had already turned over many times. Seeing the look in Lin Feng's eyes, Tang Dexuan immediately responded, "Brother Lin, as long as you say it, I, Tang Dexuan, will never refuse." Lin Feng came back to his senses and smiled. "There is indeed something that I need to trouble you with." Tang Dexuan raised an eyebrow, a bit surprised. Before he could ask, Lin Feng reached out and cut a jade pendant from his neck. "Please help me give this to someone." Successfully accused the protagonist. Plot tweak activated. Villain points plus 300. Fortune value recovered, 20 points. I glanced at the system prompt. I frowned slightly, only 300. The call to the police earlier earned me 800 points. This time, using the lawyer only gave this much. I shook my head, too lazy to dwell on it. After all, these things were not something he could control. Just head straight ahead. And now you are following the beautiful secretary Mudai into the company. You walk ahead with a stern face. Looking straight ahead, Mudai walks beside you, holding her document bag, chattering nonstop, reporting several matters to be handled at today's meeting. As she speaks, she can't help but sneak a glance at the man beside her. His figure is tall and straight, his face showing a tough yet steady demeanor, completely different from any man she has ever seen. In her heart, that is the perfect template of a man. It's a pity her family is ordinary, so far apart from this top-tier billionaire that they might as well be on different planets. That affection can only be buried deep in her heart, not even daring to think about it in dreams. Second brother, you finally arrived. As soon as the elevator at the 88th floor of the company headquarters opened, a man in a suit stood at the entrance of the meeting room. His hair slicked and shiny, greeting with a grin. The Qin family has 4 children in total, each one different from the other. The eldest, Xinzheng, served in the military for over a decade, has a temper but doesn't like to meddle in business, managing several star-rated hotels, just seeking peace and quiet. The third, Qin Wu, lives up to his name, spending all day obsessed with martial arts practice, with a fiery personality. His portfolio full of gyms, martial arts schools, and nightclubs. The fourth sister, Qin Yuan, is a strong woman with a master's degree from a prestigious foreign university, managing all the female consumer goods brands of the family, acting resolutely and swiftly. And I am the second child. He had a remarkable talent for business since childhood. The old man handed all the core businesses over to me. Now, some might ask whether the other siblings would be jealous, but that's simply impossible. Following the trope in novels, villain families all share a common trait. They're united as iron. Mess with one, the whole family comes for you. Attack one, the entire clan gets enraged. This isn't an act, that's just the standard. Third brother, what are you doing here? Here to give you an invitation. Qin Wu nonchalantly pulled out a gold embossed card. I'm getting married in half a month. Second brother, you have to be there. I was going to wait until the family banquet to mention it, but I was afraid you'd forget about the wedding. I was slightly stunned. So sudden. What's sudden about it? I'm already 38. Is getting married considered urgent? Qin Wu grinned widely. He didn't care at all. Alright, second brother. You've got to step it up too. As he spoke, his gaze shifted. It landed on Mudai beside you. I'm looking forward to drinking at your and Miss Mu's wedding. I was stunned on the spot. My face froze. Mudai's face instantly turned bright red. Her ears were practically steaming. Can't you be serious for once? Coming back to my senses, I shot him a glare. This guy's almost 40, yet he spends all his time joking around at my expense. Qin Wu laughed so hard he slapped the table. Enjoying himself, they exchanged a few more casual words. Qin Wu stuffed the wedding invitation into your hand. Without even eating, he turned and left. As soon as Qin Wu left, the senior management meeting of Xingxi was about to begin. The conference table was full of people, all core members of the company. Looking at the group of people below who were all quiet, listening to me speak, I felt a certain sense of satisfaction in my heart. This meeting also had no complicated procedures. It was nothing more than which plot of land had stalled approval, which real estate project needed additional investment, which relationship needed to be smoothed over, with the original owner's memory as a foundation, and Mudai helping me catch omissions and fill gaps. Handling these matters was quite smooth. But what I didn't notice was, ever since Qin Wu had mentioned it earlier, during the meeting, Mudai would occasionally, through her black-framed glasses, secretly steal a glance at me. At 3 p.m., at the Su family mansion in Shuming City, the family head Su Jingyang was standing in the living room of his own villa, frowning deeply, watching his old father sitting on the sofa with a puzzled expression. Dad, what is the background of this jade pendant's owner? Is it really worth it to offend the Qin family for him? Whether it's worth it or not, I'm not the one to decide. Old Master Su slowly turned the jade pendant over in his hand. That thing was oddly shaped, its intricacies not visible. His voice was low but unquestionable. This is a vow I made back then. In those chaotic times, fleeing for my life. My enemy had chased me to a dead end. It was he who saved my life. But even so, you cannot act on your own authority. Marrying Yanren to a mere young brat, Xu Jingyang sighed. If Yanren finds out about this, he'll kick up a fuss. What fuss? The old man snorted coldly. To become the fiancé of that person's disciple is his blessing. Others would beg for such good fortune. What does he have to complain about? Grandpa, Dad, what are you talking about? A clear and pleasant voice suddenly rang out, breaking the argument in the room. A figure in a light blue dress walked in gracefully. Xu Yanren, Xu Jingyang's only daughter, 24 years old this year, 1.65 meters tall. Straight black hair naturally falling to the tips, along with that cold, flawless face. So beautiful it's hard to look away. Yanren, why are you here? Looking at Xu Yanren at the door, Xu Jingyang froze on the spot, his face burning slightly. What he and the old man had just said, they hadn't mentioned a word to her. I left a document here. Came back to get it. Xu Yanren finished speaking calmly, then turned her gaze to her father. Dad, I just heard you talking about a fiancé. That sounds weird. Xu Jingyang felt even more uneasy, his fingers unconsciously rubbing the seam of his pants. Well, you can't hide forever. Since she heard, might as well come clean. Old Master Su waved his hand, his tone firm. Betrothed as a child to an ice-cold beauty. This kind of plot is actually quite cliched, but following the usual course. This cold-faced female CEO definitely wouldn't buy it. Next, the old man would make the protagonist join the company, assigning him a role like a driver or personal bodyguard. Then, the protagonist, relying on his skills, repeatedly saves the day from danger. The ice block naturally melts into a warm spring. Sure enough, as soon as Xu Yanren heard this, she flew into a rage. I won't pretend. With that, he grabbed the documents and turned to leave. The door slammed shut with a bang. Old Su sighed. Xu Jingyang could only smile bitterly and shake his head. But the old man knew in his heart that given enough time, his granddaughter would surely be won over by that guy. Zidai, how much cash does the company have available right now? Discussing business over meals is already a norm for many modern people. So for the meeting between the Qin and Su families, Mudai specifically booked it for 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Around $6 billion. I rubbed my chin and nodded. That's enough. Mr. Qin, do you need to use the money? If you need it, I can transfer it right now. No, just asking. Just prepare for the upcoming meeting. For you now, keeping the family business is enough. Why would you want to dabble in other ventures? But can other businesses be faster than this pit? Before the protagonist arrived, at 5 in the afternoon, I took Mudai straight to the Emperor Hotel. Just as we reached the entrance, a man in a suit rushed up quickly. Hello, President Qin. I'm the manager here. Mr. Gong and President Su are already waiting for you in the private room. Led the way through the corridor. They soon arrived at the Tianzi private room. Haha, President Qin is here. Please come in, please come in. Hello, Uncle Qin. Isn't this Yanren, little girl? I looked her up and down. Io, you've grown so tall. Let me give you a hug. These words almost slipped out. Luckily, I reacted quickly and forced them back down. Both families are top rivals of Q Mingxi. Of course they know each other. The relationship is not extremely close, but not bad either. The Su family's main business is home appliance manufacturing. They have a certain reputation in the industry. This time they joined forces over a piece of land. It's a bit messy. The Su family doesn't touch real estate. Their money is mostly tied up in home appliances, but they have wide connections. So the Qin and Su families are planning together to get that piece of land and hand it over to the Qin family for development. The Su family won't contribute money, only take dividends, aside from the driver and bodyguards. The Su family brought 3 people this time. Xu Jingyang, his daughter Xu Yanren, and a female secretary beside them. When I first saw Xu Yanren, I was stunned for a moment. This girl is truly flawless, dazzlingly beautiful, but her eyes were as cold as a winter lake. A typical aloof, high-end mighty boss. Before, there was the delicate little nurse, and the hot-tempered female cop. Now another ice queen pops up. She's not one of the heroines too, is she? Before the female lead's relationship with the protagonist reaches a certain point, fate won't flow toward the antagonist. She looks just like an ordinary person, so you can't directly tell who the female lead is. You can only guess. For now, Xu Yanren seems like the real deal, but you wouldn't dare to slap your chest and guarantee it. The 2 bosses exchange polite greetings on the surface, but the one who really discusses the details is Mudai and the secretary named Li Yudong. Chief Chen, I heard your son got into a conflict with someone yesterday, and even ended up in the hospital. Is that true? The dishes hadn't even been touched yet, when Su Jingyang spoke up first to probe the situation. That's right, this kind of thing really did happen. My son was indeed in the wrong first, but the other party was too ruthless. They directly hit him in a vital spot. I can't just take it lying down. I've already reported it to the police, and the guy is now sitting in a cell. The female lead, Su Yanren, has changed her opinion of the host. Antagonist points increased by 100. Aura points increased as well. I raised an eyebrow and thought, what's going on? Only a few words were exchanged, and her impression has already changed. I subconsciously glanced at Su Yanren beside me, and unexpectedly, she happened to be looking at me too. Our eyes met straight on. Strangely enough, Su Yanren's face actually flushed slightly, as if realizing something was off. He quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Uncle, I used to hear people say you're especially protective of your own son, letting him do whatever he wants. But seeing you today, that's all just rumors. Haha, Miss Su, you really know how to flatter. I happily adhere to filial piety, but your words are still a bit off. Actually, the rumors you mention aren't entirely false. Saying this, my expression turned serious. In earlier years, I was only focused on building my career, and had no time to take care of the child. The senior apprentice's current temper is mostly spoiled by me, but in the past few years, I've come to understand. From now on, I'll definitely discipline him strictly. Can't let him get into this kind of trouble anymore. He spoke sincerely. While speaking, he was also muttering in his heart, can I fish for some more villain points this time? As a result, not only Su Yanren was surprised, even her father Su Jingyang was slightly stunned. Even Mu Di, who was chatting with the other party's secretary, turned his head and glanced at you. Ding! Successfully turned. The female lead Su Yanren's perception of the host. Villain points plus 300, luck points plus 20. Ding! Key character Su Jingyang has successfully changed his view of the host. Villain points plus 200, luck points plus time. When villain points reach the requirement, you can draw a lottery. Do you want to draw immediately? Really? I can draw. Wait. Su Jingyang counts too. What identity is this? Your heart shook. Seeing the words key character in the system, your mind suddenly became clear. Probably the kind of person who, in the original plot, could help Lingfeng. That is, key characters of this kind. As long as I change their view of me, they'll give me resources in return. Thinking of this, I almost slammed the table. If I'd known, I would have grabbed a few more pairs of Tang Dexuan. Ability extraction successful. Combat skills maxed out. You've been wanting to find a way to strengthen yourself. The moment you saw the combat skill, you didn't even blink. After confirming you had obtained max level combat skills, a whole lot of new things flooded into your mind. Now you are way stronger than back when you were just blindly accumulating inner energy. President Chen, what life wisdom have you been pondering lately? Haven't seen you in so long. Your aura is completely different. Xi Jingyang took the wine the waiter had just served, and personally poured you a glass of Romane Conti. Seeing this, I reached out and took it. Without any refusal, we both took a gentle sip, and chatted about trivial matters while drinking. When it came time for finger guessing and chess, Xi Jingyang finally put down his fork. Changing his tone, he said frankly, President Chen, aside from discussing cooperation today, I also have a small request. I'd like to ask for your help. As soon as he said that, I already had a fair idea of what was coming. Speak up. If there's something, just say it directly. I hate beating around the bush. Xi Jingyang was taken aback for a moment, then chuckled, hey. Since you're being so straightforward, I won't hold back either. To be honest, that Lingfeng who got into a fight with your son yesterday has some connection to our Su family. As he spoke, he secretly glanced at your expression, seeing that you didn't have much of a reaction. Then he continued, can I ask you to ease up and not pursue the matter further, so that kid can avoid jail time? Sure enough, he came for Lingfeng. Although the system reward had already hinted, Xi Jingyang is a key figure. But I didn't expect this guy, for Lin Feng's sake, would actually lower himself to beg me in person. That Lin Feng has only been in Quming City for a few days. How did he climb the Su family tree so quickly? Typical protagonist's luck. No matter where he goes, he has backing. His luck is ridiculously strong. If it were the old Qingshan, I might have been led by these words. You pretended to ponder for a few seconds, then slowly spoke, to tell you the truth, Mr. Su. I really didn't know that kid's background was so deep, and that it involves your Su family. Actually, yesterday's incident was started by my son first. I originally thought to let him suffer a bit and learn his lesson, It's just that Lin Feng was too heavy-handed. That's why I had to take the legal route. Xu Jingyang was stunned upon hearing this. So what do you mean? Since Mr. Su has put it this way, if I don't agree, wouldn't it be disrespectful? Forget about compensation. It's not like I lack that little money. Let him come and apologize to me in person. Then this matter will be considered over. Mr. Su, what do you think? Xu Jingyang's heart immediately bloomed with joy upon hearing this. He quickly agreed, based on his previous understanding of you. You would either ask for a huge sum and bleed him dry, or come to a stalemate and break off the relationship on the spot. No matter which, the Su and Qin families would have a grudge. But who would have thought that now? Only an apology is needed. Who wouldn't agree to such a good deal? But Xu Jingyang didn't realize at all that this matter was not as simple as it seemed on the surface, not to mention other things. Just making Lin Feng bow his head and admit his mistake alone was almost an impossible task. Have you ever seen a protagonist in any novel offer an apology to the villain? If the protagonist were that cowardly, the fans would be the first to not buy it. Xu Jingyang, overjoyed inside, immediately pulled out his phone to make a call. Hurry to the police station and pick up Lin Feng. Tell him the matter is resolved. And you, quick and decisive, turned around and dialed Li Chun's number. Told him to notify Deng Junchu to stop investigating the case. Withdraw your single command was enough. Song Junchu immediately pulled back his team and left. Liu Ruoxi in the police station could finally catch her breath. Earlier, she had been worried that the Qin family would not let it go. If that happened, then the officers on the case, would have a headache every day. At the entrance of the police station at that time, Lin Feng slowly walked out of the main gate, with a completely relaxed expression. That jade pendant old man Z gave me before he left actually works pretty well, huh? The Qin family is just so-so. Let's go. Mr. Su is waiting at the Dahao Hotel, the driver said coldly as a reminder. Alright, coming right up. Lin Feng replied with a smile. Before leaving, he even turned back to glance at the police station gate, a bit regretful that he didn't get to show off in front of Liu Ruoxi. But that wasn't important now. The real priority was to go see his fiancée. Half an hour later, at the Dahao Hotel, you all had already eaten and drunk your fill, and were lounging under the air conditioner, chatting and joking. Lin Feng also followed the driver, pushed open the door, and walked in. The moment he entered, his eyes quickly swept around. The several beauties in the room were all present, but when his gaze fell on Su Yanren, he immediately had the answer in his heart. He really hadn't expected such a beautiful woman was actually his own fiancée. Damn, that face. Completely no less than Morong Di when Kingshan was sick. This trip down the mountain was worth it. So you are Lin Feng. Seeing him enter, Xu Jingyang immediately put on the airs of an elder. Lin Feng slightly lowered his head, with a respectful attitude, greeted Uncle Su. Seeing that this young man still knew his manners, Xu Jingyang nodded quite satisfied. He pointed to an empty seat beside him. Sit down. Lin Feng didn't decline either. He sat down with a plop, not to mention anything else for now. Let me introduce you. This is President Chen. You should have met before. Met? Of course we met. Lin Feng curled the corner of his mouth, with a hint of sarcasm. If it weren't for his son's lack of discernment, I wouldn't have been locked up in the station. As soon as these words left his mouth, except for you, everyone's faces changed, including Su Yanren and Morong Dai. This guy is probably an idiot, isn't he? Saying that Kingshan is trash in front of two big shots. This is not just slapping Kingshan's face. It's even more of a slap to Xu Jingyang's face. Xu Jingyang glanced at you, and found that you still showed no reaction. Hurry up and save Killian. Lin Feng, do you know what nonsense you're spouting? Lin Feng sensed that the atmosphere was off, but he still didn't correct himself. Subo Bao. Of course I know what I'm saying. His son acted like a hooligan in public and even tried to hit me. He swaggers around because he has bodyguards. If I hadn't reacted quickly, I'd be lying in the hospital. This time, you haven't even spoken yet. But Xu Jingyang slammed the table and stood up first. You really are lawless. The young master of President Qin's family. How is it your turn to stick your nose in here? Now get the hell over there and apologize to President Qin. Otherwise, I, Xu Jingyang, will tear up all politeness today. And neither of us will be able to salvage this. Seeing Lin Feng's arrogant and aloof demeanor, Su Yanren frowned. Her heart sank halfway. He couldn't help sneaking a glance at you. Compared to a reckless hothead like Lin Feng, Kingshu sitting there without a word seemed steady and reliable. This is the kind of man who can really hold things together. Lin Feng shot a disdainful glance at Kingshu. Sorry, Uncle Su. I'll consider this matter a personal favor to you, but I cannot bow my head and admit wrong. His words were hard and unyielding, leaving no room for compromise. You damn bastard, you're absolutely lawless. I really shouldn't have begged President Qin to let you off. Xu Jingyang's voice trembled with rage. He even started cursing. Lin Feng frowned at that and said, Uncle Su. You should never have lowered your head to beg him. With my skills, it wouldn't be hard to help you swallow up the Qin family. Before Su Jingyang could even respond, his head spun, and he fell straight backward. Dad. What's wrong, Dad? Su Yanren, being the closest, was the first to react. You, who had been watching the show all along, also didn't have time to think much. You stepped forward a few paces to help support him. Lin Feng, seeing Su Jingyang collapse, was not panicked at all. Instead, a glint of light flashed in his eyes. An opportunity has come. As long as he can cure this person, all previous troubles will be wiped clean. The protagonist's luck is just that miraculous. The worse the dead end, the easier the turnaround. Just as the bodyguards reached out to carry him to the hospital, Lin Feng suddenly spoke. Wait a moment, let me take a look at him first. Su Yanren turned her head, saw it was him, and with a tone as cold as ice, bodyguards, drag him out. I don't want to see that face again. The two bodyguards immediately moved. They closed in on Lin Feng from left and right. Seeing the situation was not going his way, Lin Feng quickly shouted, I am a doctor, Uncle Su. This is a sudden acute illness. If we don't act now, by the time he's taken to the hospital, he'll be cold. As soon as Lin Feng said this, Su Yanren was stunned on the spot. Although her father's collapse was somewhat related to Lin Feng, she was already thoroughly annoyed with this guy. But what he said wasn't entirely unreasonable. The nearest hospital from here would take at least 15 minutes. If they hit traffic, they might not even make it in half an hour. Seeing how decisive Lin Feng was, not at all like he was lying, Su Yanren began to waver inside. Just as she was about to nod in agreement, a steady voice suddenly came from the side. Miss Su, don't believe him. Su Yanren looked up sharply. Only then did you realize you were ordering the bodyguards to lay Su Jingyang flat. One hand resting, you didn't even raise an eyebrow. Your father was driven to this state by him, and now you're letting him save people. Besides, with that look of just over 20, what kind of doctor could he be? Su Yanren immediately realized. But Uncle Qin can't just stand by and wait now, right? Upon hearing that, you waved your hand, with your fingers still pressing on Su Jingyang's wrist. Don't worry. With me here. After speaking, you leaned down and checked his breath. Then you began to unbutton Su Jingyang's shirt. Lin Feng was furious. He directly shouted, Qingtia, are you taking this chance to get revenge? If you delay the treatment time, you are a murderer. Right now, this is his only chance to turn things around. But this chance is being forcibly cut off by someone. How could he not be anxious? Shut up. You gave a grunt of disapproval, having no time to deal with him. After confirming the weak heartbeat, you quickly laid the person flat and began performing chest compressions. This scene dumbfounded everyone watching. That aloof CEO Qing actually knew first aid. Ling Feng, who was grinding his teeth and ready to continue cursing, was also stunned after seeing the movements. This technique is just standard. Rhythm, strength, position all flawless. Even if he did it himself, it would be just like this. Everyone step back a bit. Don't crowd so tightly. Leave some air, Qingtia ordered while pressing. His tone was unquestionable. Quick, everyone, move back. Su Yanren had no time to think, and quickly complied. Su Yanren stood by the side, clenching her fists. Her heart rose and fell with every compression. Fortunately, he didn't have to wait long. With you secretly using steam assistance, Su Jingyang, lying on the ground, suddenly shuddered. A faint pulse returned to his chest. Seeing this, Su Yanren cried out in pleasant surprise, Uncle Qin. My dad's heartbeat is back. Qingshan nodded. He pressed a few more times. Then he withdrew his hands and stood up. Your father already had a heart condition. Just now, he got too emotional and couldn't catch his breath. Now he's stable. Have someone carry him to the sofa to rest. Seeing her father's condition return to normal, Su Yanren turned around and looked at you gratefully. Uncle Qin, thank you. I didn't expect you to know all this. That's amazing. You smiled faintly. You stood up and stretched your wrists and shoulders. Just a little effort. Nothing much. At this moment, Murongdai quietly approached. She handed you a tissue. Here, wipe your sweat. You took the tissue and wiped your forehead. You looked around suspiciously. Where did that kid Lin Feng go? At this moment, the system voice sounded again. Congratulations, host. You saved a key character before the protagonist. Villain value plus 1,500. You snatched back 500 points of Shadow Main. Villain value requirement met. Triggered system ability extraction authorization. Whether to use the lottery immediately, no reason to keep it. You directly chose to extract. Extraction successful. To options, choose one. First, play the piano extremely well. Top level. Second, dance to the highest standard. Full rhythm sense. The two skills given this time, to be honest, are a bit of a letdown. Playing the piano and dancing are all nonsense. Completely useless. So, you casually picked a piano that looked more pretentious. Just to show off in the future. Dad, wake up, will you? About a minute later, Su Jingyang, who was carried to the sofa by several bodyguards with much effort, slowly opened his eyes. Just awakened, Su Jingyang's mind was still a bit hazy. What just happened to me? Dad, you suddenly passed out. Uncle Chin brought you back. Su Yanran quickly explained, as memories gradually pieced back together. Su Jingyang stared at you with increasingly shocked eyes. Later, Su Jingyang was still sent to the hospital, although he had already recovered. After all, his status demanded it. A checkup would put everyone at ease. His daughter Su Yanran naturally had to accompany him. Before leaving, he specifically apologized to your doctor. After all, Lin Feng was released at their request. Little did he know, you were already overjoyed. This whole incident. Not only did he get a large pile of villain points and 7 rhymes, but Su Jingyang also made an on-the-spot decision. In the cooperation project, he would give up 10% of the profits as a sign of trust. Don't underestimate that 1/10. With the resources the two families can leverage, this deal has a net profit of at least 5 billion. 1/10 is 500 million. The only annoying thing is, that kid Lin Feng has disappeared. I had planned to use the Su family to teach him a lesson, but the plan fell through. I'm still quite unhappy about it, but you also understand that to deal with a child of aura like this, you have to take it slow. Meanwhile, Ling Feng had indeed run off. As soon as he saw that he had caused a huge disaster, and witnessed with his own eyes your perfectly standard, heartbreak more standard than standard, he immediately realized something was terribly wrong. But after he ran out, the more he thought about it, the more something felt off. The events of the past 2 days flashed through his mind, and he kept feeling that something was wrong somewhere. Especially since you never act according to common sense. Now the Su family path is completely cut off. I'm afraid the Tang family isn't much better off either. Now he has to change his name and surname, and completely disappear from the Qin family's business. Only then will there be a chance to turn things around. Once he made up his mind, Ling Feng already had a direction in his heart. The kid was pulling out money and thinking, when suddenly 2 punks with dyed hair blocked his way. Each held a gleaming dagger in hand. Clearly up to no good. Just in time, you're asking for trouble. The next second, screams rang out one after another from the alley. Meanwhile, in the Rolls-Royce, Morong Dai secretly observed the boss with closed eyes. Qingtian's little emotions grew more and more intense. He was truly amazed. Other rich people either count money, play golf, or socialize all day, but their own boss actually knew such a standard first aid technique. And just now, when he was performing CPR on Su Jingyang, that completely focused expression almost made his heart stop. Oldly, play some music. Relax a bit. You suddenly spoke, immediately averted his gaze from Mudai, pretended to be looking out the window. The music started playing. You closed your eyes again. At that moment, your mind was racing. From Su Jingyang's reaction just now, you could guess. Ling Feng had nothing to do with him. The real connection was through that old master of the Su family. Su Gofu, that is to say, as long as the old master still protects Ling Feng, the Su family is unlikely to cause trouble for him over this. This kid is a bit troublesome. You muttered under your breath. Ling Feng has now hidden himself in the shadows. Now it's him on the shore. You're in the open. This situation won't do. Thinking this, you opened your eyes and spoke again. Oldly, when we get back, arrange a few people to find out Ling Feng's whereabouts for me. Remember, don't get too close, and definitely don't make a move. If there's any news, report immediately. After saying that, you frowned and added, Old Lin, what are you listening to? What song is that? Change it, change it. I don't even know. Is it because you just got that top-tier piano skill that your ears have become picky? Li Jun was startled. You want to change the song, but there are only 2 or 3 songs saved in the car. You usually don't listen to music either. I just randomly picked one. Seeing this, Wu Dai curiously asked, President Chen, do you want to listen to music? It's not that I have to listen. Just suddenly felt the road was too quiet. Mu Dai immediately understood. How about I search on my phone and connect via Bluetooth to play it? This way, you can have whatever you want to hear. King Shin's eyes lit up. Suddenly thought of something. Alright, then play 1,000 Reasons to Be Sad for me. Otherwise, it's annoying to be stuck in silence the whole way. It's an old song, from many years ago, but that's just your taste. Morong Dai was confused. The name sounds made up. After searching for a while, there's no sign of that Mr. Chin you mentioned. Probably got the song name wrong. When Yan raised an eyebrow, sensing something off, then searched for Jiangzu. Is Jiangzu a singer? Although Morong Dai was puzzled, she still did as told. Unfortunately, still nothing. King Shin's expression darkened slightly. He took the pink phone Morong Dai handed over. You do it yourself. Quickly typed in the names of the 4 heavenly kings from his past life. Entered all of them. Finally, you slowly leaned back in your seat. Let out a soft sigh. Now he understood completely. So he had been reborn into a parallel universe. Although the general direction was similar to his past life, many famous celebrities, actors and such no longer existed. Bai Banshu felt a bit tired and said, forget it. I won't listen. It's mentally exhausting to listen. Can't even see the four heavenly kings or Jaishu. Then what's the point of listening? Those classic songs he had heard and hummed over the years. His heart suddenly felt choked. But the one more frustrated than you was old Master Su. Having just heard about his own son, he was so angered by Ling Feng that he fainted on the spot. Old Master Su immediately had the driver rush him to the hospital. As soon as he entered, he pressed for the whole story, not leaving out a single detail. Did you really propose that condition to Kingshan? Su Zhengyang's tone was low from the bed. We were talking just fine. Kingshan agreed without a second thought. But who could have imagined that a kid named Lin Song would suddenly pop up and right in front of Kingshan start cursing at the child? Tell me, as an elder, could I just pretend I didn't see it? And so here we are. He let out a breath, releasing the pent-up frustration. His fists clenched and unclenched, afraid that if he kept talking, he'd get angry again. Old Master Su listened, his eyes lighting up slightly, seeming to realize something. From what you say, this Lin Feng really does resemble his master when he was young. Hearing this, Su Jingyang's eyes nearly popped out. Dad, are you being brainwashed by someone? Is your memory fading away? Capable people often have peculiar tempers. That's normal, old Master Su said in a steady tone. He continued talking to himself. He was willing to stand up for a stranger. That shows he has a warm heart. He dared to scold his son right under Kingshan's nose. That shows he's tough enough. Only such a man is worthy of Yanren. Dad, please be sensible. Su Jingyang snapped back to reality. Looking utterly dismayed, he felt that at this point, the one lying on the sickbed shouldn't be him, but rather this old geezer. If only he knew what the old man was talking about. Probably just muttered to themselves that it's normal. After all, he is just a mortal. How could he possibly resist the mischief of fate and fortune's deception? The next day, you arrived at the company early in the morning, sitting behind the desk, leisurely spinning a pen. Your thoughts had already drifted far, far away. You didn't even know how you ended up in this world. Most importantly, spending all day thinking about how to prevent the protagonist from stealing the spotlight. All the days you should have enjoyed were wasted. Thinking of this, you got up. Immediately, you took out your phone and called Li Jun. Lin Feng still hasn't been found. You now clearly remember. Lin Feng's luck value is probably about 3,200. Yours is just over 700. A big gap. With such a gap, you might be overtaken any day. After hearing that Li Jun had made no progress, you decisively gave him to tips. Now have them check the hotels and the surveillance footage from the police stations. Also, parks, bars, KTVs, and these places, stake out a little. These are all the places the protagonist loves to hang around. In parks, it's easy to run into mysterious old men giving out lucky encounters. At 98 KTV, it's either saving people or fighting. All the plot unfolds here. Fans who have seen my videos have all memorized them backward and forward. Although Li Jun didn't understand why he had to watch these places, orders are orders, just follow them. After hanging up, you squinted your eyes and pondered the next move. According to intelligence, Ling Feng really did leave the Tang family, but the old man probably gave him a sum of money. Otherwise, with the platform just starting out, in such a short time, where would he get the confidence to not worrying about food and drink? Since the Tang family likes to play the goody two-shoes, then why should I be polite? With that, you pick up your phone again. You dial a special number, President Chen, you wanted to see me. On the other end of the line, a sweet, girlish voice answers. You get straight to the point. I need a man. A stranger will do. Fighting ability doesn't matter. The key is he must know how to change faces. 1 million a month. That's pocket change to you. You directly agree. The moment the million credits hit the account, the owner of that unfamiliar account hasn't even reacted yet. The fate of the Tang family has already been sealed. At 6 in the evening, in that large villa on Mount Li, your things have arrived, young master. Butler Feng lowers his head. His tone is extremely respectful. Behind him stand two maids, each pushing a small cart. The carts are fully loaded. There are only 2 sets of acupuncture needle packs. The rest are all small labeled bottles, large jars of various colors. It looks like a pharmacy has been moved here. You acknowledge with a sound and ask them to clear a room downstairs. From now on, these will be placed there, after they finish their work. You stand alone in the middle of the empty living room, feeling annoyed. Your previous messy lovers have all been quickly and cleanly blocked by you. Now if you want to find someone to date, you can only choose from the girls you've met since time traveling, preferably those with the destiny of a female lead. They can both relieve your boredom and make you stronger. But currently, there are only 3 female leads you can contact. Tangzu, the nurse, Liu Ruoxi, the policewoman, and Xu Yanren, the aloof and domineering CEO. Those women haven't even exchanged a few words with him. Making reckless moves could easily ruin things. As for Morong Dai, that woman is probably not the heroine type. And lately, she's been working overtime every day. Better not bother her. He scrolled through his contact list for a long time, but couldn't find a suitable person, so he simply changed into ordinary clothes and decided to go out and get some fresh air himself. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room of Lambic Bar, a young man in a security guard uniform was sitting with his legs crossed, lazily staring at the screen. All the activity in the bar was playing out right under his nose, but when he saw a woman sitting in a corner, he suddenly straightened up. Xianren, what is she doing here? At that moment, another security guard came over cheerfully, sat down next to him, and greeted him with a familiar tone. Peek, what are you staring at? So absorbed. This guy was named Tong Hai. He had been working here for 5 or 6 years. Lin Feng casually replied, nothing much. Just familiarizing myself with the environment. After a pause, he asked, you've been in this area for a long time. Is that the man at table 7 who's drinking? He added, pointing at the monitor, at a guy who had just tried to hit on Su Yanren. Jokai, Tong Hai glanced at the screen. A small-time thug leader. Did he pick a fight with you? No, nothing like that. That's not true. Lin Feng replied perfunctorily. Seriously, the protagonist's luck is really off the charts. Even he himself didn't expect that. Last night, he casually beat up 2 thugs causing trouble on the street. And they turned out to be Brother Leopard's men. When Brother Leopard heard that someone had provoked his people, he immediately showed up to drop harsh words and directly arranged a place to fight one-on-one. But then Brother Leopard's old injury flared up, and he was even limping a bit when walking. Lin Feng spotted the problem at a glance, and with a few moves quickly fixed the guy. Brother Leopard was instantly stunned, regarding him as extraordinary. He immediately arranged for him to be the head of security. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't after just this position. He had heard the news that Jin Sonya's health was not good. If he could cure that big shot, he would have the capital to compete with you. But Jin Sonya hasn't been in Quming recently, so Brother Leopard had to temporarily place him here at the Blue Shell Bar as the head of security, as a transitional arrangement. Earlier, when he saw Xianren being pestered by Jokai, Lin Feng, acting on instinct, felt that this matter wouldn't just end like that, so he asked an extra question. But he completely failed to notice that in the booth area on the other side of the bar, there was also a man who made him want to tear off his skin and pull out his tendons. From afar, looking at Xianren sitting quietly, your eyes lit up. How could he be here? In the original timeline, he had hooked up with a flight attendant at this bar before. With nothing better to do, you also wanted to come see if there was anyone pleasing to the eye. Spending the whole night wasn't out of the question. Who would have thought I'd run into Xianren of all people? A cold-faced female CEO, sitting alone in a bar corner in the dead of night. This scenario she knew all too well. A female lead alone in a place like this. Within 10 minutes, a few thugs would show up to harass her. Then the male lead would appear, save her, show off, and win her over. Now that Xianren was sitting there alone, could Lin Feng be nearby too? Thinking this, you curled the corner of your mouth slightly, revealing a meaningful smile. And the result was exactly as you had predicted. After you waited 2.5 minutes, a few shady men crowded around her. At the same time, you also noticed that the wine glass in Xianren's hand was shaking badly. She was obviously already drunk. Seeing this, you instantly knew the opportunity had come. As for Xianren, a big burly dark-skinned man, grinned at the woman in front of him and said, beautiful lady, do us a favor and have a drink with us brothers. Get lost, though Xianren's head was heavy. Her temper hadn't changed. The burly dark man wasn't annoyed at all. Instead, he laughed. I like this personality. With that, he winked at his companion beside him. The blonde-haired guy nearby immediately caught on, and with understanding, picked up a cocktail, handing it to Xianren. Listen up, sis. My name is Wang Wu, the top dog around here. Everyone knows the name Wang Wu. I've taken a liking to you. I'll give you 2 options. Either come with me, or drink this glass. I, Wang Wu, will immediately double quotes before he finished. Xianren directly grabbed the cup. She tilted her head back, down the drink in one gulp, then slammed the cup hard on the table. He spat out another word, scram. This posture even stunned Wang Wu. Haha, didn't expect you to be such a straightforward person. Wang Wu changed his tone, but I only said half of what I wanted to say. Actually, I was going to say, after drinking this glass of wine, you belong to me. After speaking, he smiled and approached, since you're so straightforward. Then come with me now. I'll be gentle with you later. As he spoke, that hand reached towards Xianren's shoulder. Seeing this, Xianren sobered up for a moment. She knew she had run into a rogue. She struggled to get up, but the alcohol had already spread through her entire body. She had just propped herself up when her vision went black, and she fell back into the chair. watching that hand get closer and closer. Her body couldn't move. It's over. She felt a chill in her heart. Just when that hand was less than 10 centimeters from her, it suddenly froze. Then, a calm voice rang out, "A piece of trash like you doesn't even deserve to touch her. Damn, where did this guy come from? How dare you stop me?" Wang Wu shook his arm. Boastfully, he was about to throw a punch. But as soon as the words left his mouth, his wrist suddenly felt like it was caught in a steel vise. His whole body instantly froze in place. The area near his wrist felt like someone had viciously pinched off the meridians. The piercing pain almost made him jump. You stared coldly at Wang Wu. A strange smile crept across your face. "If you don't want to end up with no descendants, you should get the hell out of here right now." After saying that, Wang Wu finally pulled out his wrist. "Fine. You're quite something. This girl is yours for today. Don't let me see you again." After saying that, he turned and fled without looking back. Su Yanran was stunned for a long time before she reacted. Her voice was trembling. "Kinkin, uncle, what are you doing out here in the middle of the night? And drinking like this?" You frowned at him. Your tone carried a hint of reproach and also some helplessness. At this moment, the scene felt absurd even to Su Yanran herself. Normally speaking, she was not someone who lost control so easily. But today, she didn't know what had gotten into her. Regardless of what he thought, you didn't want to understand at that moment, because the system voice had already sounded in your head again. "Congratulations, host. You were the first to rescue Su Yanran. Villain value, plus 500. Fortune value recovered, 100. Obtained, max level Shadow Chi Mastery. This skill is great. Now, even if I one day face the protagonist head-on, I won't be unable to even catch a glimpse of him." Then you glanced at the fortune value, which had risen to 800. You couldn't help but sigh. These days are getting more and more promising. Meanwhile, Su Yanran lowered her head. She wanted to explain but couldn't bring herself to speak. It was obvious she had something on her mind. You didn't press her, you just waved your hand, indicating you would send her back. Hearing this, Su Yanran tried to stand up on her own. But in the end, she slumped back into the chair. Seeing this, you sighed helplessly. "Let me help you." From childhood to adulthood, Su Yanran had never been this close to any man. But thinking that you were her elder, it should be fine, right? "Then thanks for your love letter, and uncle. Don't be polite. Let's go." After saying that, you unceremoniously draped Su Yanran's hand over your shoulder, while your other arm wrapped around her slender waist. First close contact with the female lead. Su Yanran achieved villain point reward, 300. Fortune points recovered, 100. Hearing this pleasant sound, the corners of your mouth lifted slightly, feeling quite satisfied inside. Su Yanran's waist was just the right slenderness, soft yet firm, excellent to the touch. The two of you had just walked out of the bar, before even turning the corner. Your brow furrowed. I saw over 20 young thugs, all holding steel pipes, baseball bats and the like, advancing in a mighty crowd, blocking the two of you ahead. Following you out were also the disguised bodyguards protecting you. Li Jun and his two men. Upon seeing this scene, they quickly surrounded you to protect you. "President Chen, hurry up and leave. Don't worry about us." Though they were skilled, the other side had too many people and were all armed. It would be too disadvantageous to fight. Certainly, you should run first and talk later. You looked down at the person in your arms, and simply lifted Su Yanran up in one swoop. "Although my fighting skills are maxed out, personally taking action would really be beneath me." Still bringing bodyguards, Wang Wu stared at Li Jun and his two men's attire and sneered, dressed up quite convincingly. "Bro, you really want to go head-to-head?" Li Jun asked coldly. He hadn't seen such clueless thugs in a long time. "Who the hell is your buddy?" Wang Wu finished speaking, raised his hand and waved. "Brothers, get him. Take out all the men. Don't touch the women." The thugs howled, charging forward waving iron bars. Li Jun and his two men reacted fast. Their batons snapped open with a crack. One covered the retreat, another provided cover. Li Jun personally took point, shielding you as you pulled back. Seeing you were about to break out with the woman in your arms, he suddenly panicked, split a few guys to go after that guy holding the woman. "Don't let him get away." Several thugs who had been surrounding the two bodyguards immediately peeled off and turned around. They rushed straight at you. Li Chun's heart skipped a beat. These scumbags actually knew to attack the main target. He lunged forward, forcing one opponent back, trying to turn around and save you. But as soon as he kicked out, two more guys popped up from the side to replace the one he pushed back, so he could only yell, "Watch out." But the next second, a loud crash rang out. One thug swinging a steel pipe was sent flying sideways. "What the hell? What's going on?" Before everyone could react, another explosion sounded. Another guy charging forward was also sent flying horizontally. His form was as perfect as if he were in an action movie. The scene instantly fell silent. Li Jun seized the chance to glance behind him, and his brain froze on the spot. He saw that frail boss chin of theirs, now holding the beauty in both arms, with one foot still pulling back. Clearly, those two guys had been sent flying by boss Chin, trapped here by this group. You'd been furious for a while now. Yanran had already fallen asleep. The whole body is soft and limp, hanging in my arms. It's so tiring to move. You're really something. Isn't this forcing me to be ruthless? This is when you see from afar one of the original owner's lovers standing in the distance. And surprisingly, beside her is Tang, Zhu and several other women's figures. Seeing this, you raise your hand and shout, Hu Xiaoman, don't just stand there. Come over and lend a hand to take care of him. And Qiu Xiaoman had been feeling upset recently because you blocked her. But as someone who gives 1 million as a breakup fee, he is still willing to obediently follow your orders. So she quickly pulled Tang Zhu and rushed over. Sorry for making you lie down for a while. Before they could arrive, you quickly and gently lay Yanran flat on the ground. Shake your shoulders, stretch your limbs, then directly charge into the crowd. Immediately after, what followed were screams one after another. Qiu Xiaoman and Tang Zhu, who had just been tending to Yanran, were instantly stunned by how cool it was. Really incredibly cool. Amazed and admiring, hearts racing, emotions in a mess. What girl doesn't like a man who can make money and also protect her? At this moment, you fit that profile perfectly. Left arm block, knee strike, elbow strike, spin kick. The whole set of moves was as smooth as if practiced 100 times in advance, with no pauses in between. It was already past 11 p.m. The bar was officially packed with people. As soon as they saw this kind of blockbuster scene, they all ran outside and watched with great interest. Only Ling Feng stood in the corner, his expression changing repeatedly. What's going on? Xingqia is actually this good at fighting. A wealthy man like him not only understands medicine but also fights to the death. How come it sounds like another version of himself? Brother Feng, should we still make a move? Tong Hai stomped his feet anxiously. The commotion outside has gotten this big. If we don't show our faces when the leopard brother gets angry, who will take the responsibility? Ling Feng slowly let out a breath. All right, you go handle it. I won't go. Upon hearing Ling Feng relent, Tong Hai immediately called a few brothers and rushed out. The mess outside the bar was almost over. Watching his men get knocked down one by one, Wang Wu turned around and tried to slip away without a word. You want to leave? Your eyes turned cold. You casually picked up a small pebble from the ground. You directly threw the stone. It hit Wang Wu's ankle as if it had eyes. Wang Wu's foot slipped, and he fell heavily to the ground. Old Li, go bring him back to me. Your voice wasn't loud, but it was piercingly cold. Hearing the command, Old Li grabbed Wang Wu by the collar with one hand and forcibly dragged him back in front of you. He raised his leg and kicked the back of his knee. Wang Wu, already dizzy and dazed from the stone hit. This kick made his knee go weak, and he fell to his knees with a thud. Fuck, you dare touch me. I'm one of Master Hu's men. Wen Yan, you directly kicked him in the face. Master Hu, what kind of thing is that? You laughed coldly and said to go back and tell your Master Hu. Tell him to find out who I am. Within 3 days, come and apologize in person. Otherwise, your entire gang won't need to exist anymore. Of course, if you can't find out who I am, that's even easier. You won't even have the right to exist. Did you understand that? Every word of yours seemed to be squeezed out through gritted teeth. Yes, I understand. I, Wang Wu, am covered in blood, hating so much that I grind my teeth, wanting your Master Hu to apologize. Who do you think you are? But when you're under someone else's roof, you have to lower your head. I can only admit defeat for now, but how could you let him off so easily? For sending a message, just leaving a mouth is enough. Old Li, cripple his limbs. What? Wang Wu suddenly looked up, his eyes wide almost to the point of splitting. Dealing with these street thugs, Old Li didn't hesitate at all. Only a cracking sound was heard. Wang Wu's pig-like scream spread throughout the whole street. Just after dealing with Wang Wu at the bar, the security guard ran out in a panic. You couldn't be bothered with these losers. And along with the security guard turned to look at Li Jun and the other two. How are you all? Are you okay? We're fine. The two bodyguards answered, enduring the pain. You looked and saw that their clothes were covered in dust and stained with blood, having been stabbed twice and still saying it's fine. Then he turned his head and said, Old Li, 100,000 each for medical treatment at the hospital. Take good care. If it's not enough, come to me for more. Hearing this, Li Jun was a bit surprised. How come the boss seemed like a different person? In the past, when encountering such matters, wouldn't he immediately curse them for being incompetent? When did he start caring so much about subordinates? But he didn't think too much about it. After all, the current boss was more to his liking. He didn't pay attention to their thoughts. You continued speaking to Li Jun. You send them to the hospital unit. I'll take Miss Su back first. Li Jun was about to say that you can't go without protection. But after seeing the unconscious ones lying on the ground, he swallowed his words. So he simply turned around and went to the parking lot to get the car. Carrying the two bodyguards and driving to the hospital, you quickly walked towards Yanran. President Chen, his forehead is frighteningly hot, Qiu Xiaomen said urgently as soon as she saw you. You frowned slightly, then reached out and touched his forehead. Indeed, the fever was severe. At this moment, Tang Zhu, blushing, said, I took his pulse. He seems to have been given an aphrodisiac. Obviously, the glass of wine from Wang Wudi earlier was definitely not right. Seeing this, you sneered inwardly. If you hadn't come tonight, Lin Feng might have really gotten a big bargain. Another save the beauty scenario. Another encounter with a drugging incident. The plot was clearly arranged by the writer. Too lazy to think about these anymore. Yu and Xu Yanran rushed to the hospital. In the Porsche, Xu Yanran was dazed and very hot. Too hot. She couldn't bear the heat. Naturally, her clothes began to fall off. You kept your eyes on the road ahead, while stealing glances at the passenger seat. To be honest, this scene before you would blow any normal man's mind. Like a bomb going off. Anyone else would have lost control long ago. For you, it was also a golden opportunity handed to you. But the system had already said, ordinary women you can mess around with. But these female leads are different. Their fates are intertwined with the male leads. You can't have any improper thoughts. To touch them, two conditions must be met. First, the other party must be fully conscious. Second, no coercion. Otherwise, you'll be in big trouble. Now Xu Yanran has drunk the glass spiked with knockout drops. She's at her most vulnerable. But what about after? You're not the protagonist. You don't have that magical power to make a girl fall for you after one night. And that halo. What if tomorrow when Xu Yanran opens her eyes and finds she's been taken advantage of, then, led by the protagonist's halo, she might turn around and accuse you of assault. Then you'd surely become a disposable villain. The kind that gets trampled under the protagonist's feet, even struggling to get back up. Thinking this, you sighed. Your tone a bit regretful. Although it's a pity, I'll just be honest today. With that, you floored the accelerator and headed straight for your villa. Take the medicine and you have to do it. Don't do it and you'll die. That's all nonsense. Reality isn't that dramatic. This kind of drug does make people uncomfortable, but as long as you tough it out, the effects of the drug will naturally fade in a few hours. At most, the person will just have to suffer a bit. Soon, the Lishan villa arrived. When you carried the limp Xu Yanran out of the car, she was already clinging to you and wouldn't let go. Her mouth kept rubbing against your face. She was hugging your neck and kissing it nonstop. No matter how you dodged, you couldn't get away. You had no choice but to steel yourself and carry her into the bathroom. You turned the cold water on full blast, directly threw her into the bathtub. The icy water poured down over her head. Xu Yanran's whole body trembled. Her mind finally cleared up a bit. Right now, her memory was very fragmented. She only remembered running into some thugs and nearly getting into trouble. Uncle Qin saved her. Suddenly, a flash of a scene appeared. Xu Yanran jolted awake. She quickly looked around. The room was large and bright. European-style decoration. The ceiling was painted with gold patterns, clearly not cheap. But this place, she had never seen before. Then she looked down at herself. She was wrapped in a thick bathrobe. Neat and proper, not revealing anything. But this wasn't her home. Her heart tightened. She quickly opened the bathrobe to check. The next second, she froze completely. Her underwear was missing. Her body went limp. She slumped down onto the floor. But then she sensed something was off. Although her head was dizzy, her body didn't feel any different. Not a single bit of pain. Not the kind that the online teachers mentioned. Afterward, a feeling of doubt surged over her. She quickly fastened her belt, stood up, and rushed outside. The entire villa was brightly lit, yet there wasn't a single person in sight. After reaching the ground floor, that familiar figure finally appeared. You were wearing a bathrobe, sitting cross-legged on the sofa, playing with your phone. Uncle Chin, hearing the noise, you looked up and over. You're awake. Xu Yanran's heart skipped a beat. How did I get here? Do you still remember what happened earlier? You put down your phone and pointed to the sofa beside you. Xu Yanran obediently sat down, first nodding gently, then shaking her head. She still had some memory of the first part, but afterward, her mind felt as if covered by a layer of something, and she simply couldn't think clearly. It seemed she had once tightly held Kingshan. As soon as this thought popped up, her face instantly turned bright red. Could it be that she really had that kind of thing with Kingshan? Thinking of this, Xu Yanran abruptly stopped, and dared not ponder further, seeing through the turmoil in her heart at a glance. There are some things you don't remember clearly, right? Don't worry, let me help you sort it out. A guy named Wang Wu handed you a glass of wine. Any recollection? Xu Yanran nodded. So you continued? That wine was tampered with by him. I took you away at that time. I originally planned to take you home, but the drug kicked into fast, and we couldn't make it to the destination. If your family or a doctor found out about this, word spreading around wouldn't sound good, so I simply brought you back to my place. Hearing you say that, Su Yanran tried to recall carefully. It seemed to be exactly like that. Then what about my clothes? To suppress the drug effect, I had you soak in cold water for a while. Your clothes were completely soaked, you said calmly, and continued, but afraid you'd catch a cold. I asked the housekeeper to dry your hair and body, and then changed you into a bathrobe. My clothes ... You asked the housekeeper to change me. Su Yanran suddenly latched onto that point. You shrug. Did you think I took them off myself? Hearing this, Su Yanran felt a bit awkward instead, because she vaguely remembered that she had hugged Kingshin, the enchanting beauty. Now she didn't even dare to look you in the eye. Noticing her embarrassment, you casually waved your hand. It's a bit late now. If Uncle Chin doesn't mind, could I stay overnight? Confirming that nothing serious had happened, Su Yanran finally breathed a sigh of relief, and her tone eased up. Hey, I don't mind. It depends on whether you're worried about gossip. You glanced at her indifferently, and discovered you could see her status. Moreover, her favorability had already reached 62%. According to the system's introduction, as long as these female leads develop goodwill toward him, the villain, he could view their detailed information. When an ordinary person's trust reaches 90%, they would completely surrender to him. And once the female lead's affection level exceeds 90%, I can ignore the protagonist's aura. Lishan Villa has plenty of rooms. You casually picked one for him, and also mentioned that after the clothes are washed and dried, the aunt will deliver them, and such thoughtful arrangements by you also made Su Yanran's mind wander uncontrollably. She slowly walked to the bedside, looked down at the bed, and surprisingly found that the quilt and sheets were all new. Obviously just changed. He even thought of this. She experienced for the first time what it meant to be the sexiness of a mature man, not to mention that this Uncle Chin is good-looking, and also meticulously attentive, simply born to be liked by girls. Just as she was thinking, that image suddenly popped into her mind. Your sharply defined face, sturdy physique, powerful arms, and that reassuring masculine aura, all kept spinning in her mind. Could this be the feeling of liking? Su Yanran suddenly shook her head. How could she possibly like him? Impossible. I'm only 4 years older than his son, but he is really so handsome, and gentle and reliable. Hugging him must feel especially secure. But he is an elder. I can't think like this. Alright. In her mind, the angel and devil have started arguing. As they argue, drowsiness surged up. Not sure if the alcohol hasn't worn off, or because tonight you left a deep impression on him. The next morning, when you woke up, your appetite seemed to have improved a bit. You quickly picked him up and slipped into the bathroom. In the morning, you stared blankly at the bathrobe hanging outside. There are clearly servants at home. What is this girl up to? And first thing in the morning she gives me 200 villain bills. What did this girl do? Not understanding, you shook your head and left. Meanwhile, in the blue shell bar private room, Brother Hu, playing with metal balls, stared at the monitor, his face ashen, when he recognized the girl in the video as the heiress of the Su family. He wished he could stuff the troublemaking underling back into his mother's womb. Now he had offended both the Qing and Su families at once. The bald big man fidgeted anxiously, rubbing his gold chain. I will personally go to their door to apologize. Meanwhile, the heiress, who had returned to the Su residence, was repeatedly watching the video of the hero saving the beauty. When she saw you awkwardly shielding him, she suddenly broke into a dimpled smile. So even a CEO fights and pulls at his tie. Her fingertips unconsciously traced your profile on the screen. Suddenly startled, she realized what she was doing. Embarrassed, she tossed the tablet onto the sofa. Su Yanran, have you lost your mind? But her reddening years had already betrayed her feelings. President Chin, the police are here to see you. At the top floor office of the criminal mansion, having just finished deploying the surveillance mission on Lingfeng. You raised an eyebrow slightly. Let lawyer Deng handle it. You spun the pen casually. This kind of small situation didn't require your personal appearance. The power of capital was fully on display at this moment. Both were involved in a fight. The protagonist ends up in jail, while the villain gets off scot-free. Such is the irony of reality. After hanging up the phone, you sink into thought, staring at the city sand table. To crush that aura cockroach, you need a multi-pronged approach. You must both forge the fox's fate and win over the female lead, while also strengthening your own influence system. Where exactly is the line of coercion? The pen in your hand spins into a blur between your fingers. As long as you don't use brute force, you can play whatever business tricks you want. The system gives an ambiguous answer, just as you're plotting underhanded schemes. The WeChat notification chime suddenly rings out. An avatar named Deng Yuking is flashing. President Chen, could I invite you for coffee? This person is the woman who was with Tang Zhu and the others last night. Seeing this, an idea instantly strikes you. Although she's not the female lead, she's not bad as a wife. 2 o'clock, stare at the coffee. Your brief reply throws the sales office front desk into a frenzy on the other end. Deng Yuking's fingers tremble with excitement. She immediately books the most expensive cafe in the city, just as she's fantasizing about a life of luxury. A piercing ringtone shatters her beautiful dream. Wang Hao's caller ID instantly makes her face change. Are you done or not? She snaps at the receiver with a sharp scold, completely different from her earlier cooing tone. On the other end of the line comes a weak plea. Xiaoqin, my mom was hospitalized a couple of days ago. She needs 30,000 for surgery. I've scraped together 10,000 from here and there. Can you help me cover the other 20,000? What? 20,000? Do you think I'm a bank? Before he even finished, Deng Yuking immediately explodes. He suddenly realized there was still a colleague next to him. Face red, he turned around and walked to the end of the corridor. Wang Hao, have you lost your mind? In this past year we've been together, how much money have you spent on me? Did you ever fight to pay for dinner? Did you ever buy movie tickets? Now, instead, you open your mouth and ask for 20,000. I'm sorry, Yi Cheng. I really have nowhere else to turn, so I'm coming to you. After all, we're still together. Can you, in light of that? The voice on the other end of the line grew quieter and quieter, as if drained of strength. Hearing this, Deng Yukin sneered coldly. Together, we've only held hands a few times. That counts as being together. Yi Chen, what do you mean by that? Wang Hao was stunned. His tone changed. What do I mean? Don't you know in your own heart? We're done, understand? Wang Hao was completely floored. Yi Chen, is money more important than me? Just to avoid lending me money, you're going to dump me? Yes, money is important. It's precisely because I'm afraid of lending money that I decided to break up with you. The more he spoke, the angrier he got. This money, I earned by exhausting my legs selling houses, swapping it for wind and sun exposure. And you think you can just ask for a loan? You earn barely over 1,000 a month writing those web novels. How are you going to pay me back? But my mom really can't hold on much longer. I have no ... but ... Deng Yukin took a deep breath, lowering her voice. Wang Hao, we have no future. I don't want to spend every day squeezing into the subway and eating takeout, living in some tiny shithole with no balcony. That's not the life I want. The other end of the phone was silent for a long time. Wang Hao slowly spoke. Yao King, are you really determined to break up? Deng Yuking actually wanted to break up long ago, but was afraid of hurting his self-esteem. She thought she'd be distant and wait for him to bring it up. But this guy was buried in his writing every day, living in a world of novels, completely unaware of her distancing. Deng Yuking closed her eyes and added the word break up. Then she hung up the phone. He often let out a breath, the corners of his mouth unconsciously lifting. Right. I have to meet President Chen at the cafe this afternoon. Thinking of this, his mood immediately brightened. And at this moment, at the entrance of the city central hospital, a young man was slumped on the steps in front of the inpatient building. At this moment, he was gripping his phone tightly, and only one thought remained in his mind. It's over. His mother was sick and needed money. He had gone through all his relatives, except for one close friend who gave him 10,000 yuan. The rest all pretended to be dead. Relatives are unreliable. He had long accepted his fate, but he didn't expect his girlfriend could be so heartless. You clearly have money, but you refuse to save my mom. Why? He growled in a low voice, his voice trembling. Deng Yu, please remember this. When I turn my life around someday, you will definitely regret what you did today. Just then, his head suddenly felt heavy. Before he could react, his vision went dark, and he collapsed. I don't know how long passed. Wang Hao slowly opened his eyes. He found himself lying on a hospital bed. He was a bit stunned. He could turn his head. He felt like something had suddenly been added to his head. It was as if a big bookshelf had appeared in his brain. The shelf was crammed full of novels. What the hell was going on? Wang Hao was completely confused. He casually pulled out the first book from the shelf. He flipped to the first page. This is a world where battle cheer reigns supreme. No magic, only battle check cultivated to the extreme. That one line alone hooked Wang Hao. He immediately kept reading. 30 years on the East Bank, 30 years on the West Bank. Don't bully a youth for being poor. The setting was fresh, and the story was especially gripping. The more he read, the more addicted he became. The more he read, the more excited he got. This was what a novel should be like. Plus, the protagonist's experience kind of resembled his own. On the other side, his iron buddy Chen Shikai who had scraped together 10,000 for him, was heading over carrying fruit. When he passed by Mingxi Cafe, he suddenly caught a glimpse of a back figure, Deng Yuking. What was she doing here? Fatty Chen was stunned. Then his mind went blank for a second. He immediately pulled out his phone and dialed Wang Hao's number. Wang Hao? I just saw Deng Yuking walk into Mingxi Cafe. A cup of coffee at a place like that costs at least a few $100. Deng Yuking's salary is only so-so. Where does she get all that spare cash? Wang Hao's mind spun. He instantly understood. But then he remembered that they had just broken up. Fatty Chen heard about your breakup. First he was stunned. Then he slowly spoke. Howsy? How is breaking up such a big deal? You should talk it out face to face, right? What's the point of doing it over the phone? And from the looks of it, he's 80% sure that before he broke up with you, he had already hooked up with someone else. Can you really swallow that? Then what do you suggest I do? Wang Hao's voice suddenly got louder. Of course, he felt terrible inside. Deng Yukin, after all, was someone he once liked. If he could really let go just like that, he wouldn't be thinking every day about getting rich and making her regret it. If you ask me, if he really did get involved with another man, don't bother being polite. You have to confront him. Even if it means burning bridges, you need to ask him face to face. Wang Hao hesitated. Really go find him and argue face to face? Feels like I'm lowering myself. Too degrading. But then he thought about how cleanly she had dumped him earlier. That decisive manner. He gritted his teeth. Fine. Wait for me. I'm coming over now. At this time, at the Mingxi Cafe, you arrived at the entrance with Li Jun and for bodyguards. Deng Yuking spotted you at a glance, and immediately raised her hand to greet President Qin over here. You look great today. You sat down and said with a smile. Deng Yuking was grinning from ear to ear, feeling glad that her careful grooming wasn't wasted. You really know how to compliment people. Thank you, President Chen. You didn't pay attention. Instead, you cut straight to the point. I don't like beating around the bush. Let's be straightforward. We only met for the first time yesterday. We're not really familiar with each other. And as for being friends, you can hardly be called that. Under these circumstances, if you're asking me out, it's either for a collaboration, or you want to take things further. Given your situation, it's definitely not to talk business, so the answer is obviously the latter. Deng Yuking was blushing bright red from his pointed words, stammering and unable to form a complete sentence. If there's something you want to say, just say it outright. Since I came here, I'm here with that intention. Seeing this, Deng Yuking finally mustered the courage and spoke her purpose. Mr. Chin, could you give me a chance? She was afraid that if she didn't tell the truth now, the opportunity would slip through her fingers. Wen Yan smiled. Daring to admit what you want is much better than those gold diggers who are all shy and pretentious. If you want to be with me, no problem. But I have 3 rules. If you can accept them, we can go now. First, from now on, you are not allowed to get close to other men, not to mention dating. Not even so-called close friends or brothers. Second, I won't marry you, and I won't stay faithful to only you. Third, from now on, only I can contact you. You're not allowed to reach out to me first. My point is simple. That's all. He laid out his thoughts. In one go. Of course, since you're willing to walk this path with me, I won't let you do it for nothing. I won't be stingy with money I'm supposed to spend. Food, clothing, and daily expenses you can choose as you like. Even if we part ways someday, he'll still give you a lump sum. Enough for you to live comfortably for a while. If you don't believe me, you can go find that friend of yours named Q Xiaoman and ask around. Xiaoman has been with you before too. Deng Yuking was stunned for a moment, but then she thought it made sense. After all, who would bring up that kind of thing on their own? You have 2 minutes to think it over. In 2 minutes, I want a straight answer from you. President Chen, will you look down on me? Deng Yuking bit her lip. She didn't give an answer right away. She knew in her heart that the way she was now would seem 80% cheap and shameful in other people's eyes. But your reply surprised her. No, there's nothing wrong with living life the way you want. Those so-called opinions out there are just people who don't know themselves. You're different. You have a good face and a great figure. You have the capital to choose a better life. Why would I look down on you? Deng Yuking almost thought she misheard. For the first time, someone talked about being a kept woman with such calmness, as if it weren't dirty or shameful at all. Do you think I have any reason to make up nice words just to cheer you up? You glanced at her, with a hint of sarcasm in your tone. Pleasing women is something idle people do. I, Kingshan, never waste time on such boring things. About 20 minutes later, you got up to pay the bill, ready to leave. Just as you stepped out of the shop, Deng Yuking had already quietly taken your arm, because he really couldn't think of a reason to refuse. President Chen, where are we going next? Wen Yan, you curl the corner of your mouth. Let's go buy clothes first. The outfit you're wearing now is pretty nice too, but since you'll be standing by my side, being just nice looking isn't enough. At these words, Deng Yuking's heart was racing so fast it felt like a chicken cutlet. So this is what it feels like to be with a rich man. A single word and he swipes the card immediately. No wonder so many girls would rather be mistresses than spend a lifetime with a poor guy. Remembering how Wang Hao treated her to a bowl of hot and sour noodles, he would even pick a stall that costs under 10 yuan. Deng Yuking's heart ached. At that moment, a sudden shout pulled her back to reality. Immediately after, two dark figures rushed from the street corner. Before they could even get close, they were stopped by the two men in black beside you. Deng Yuking focused her eyes and saw Wang Hao. What are you doing here? You're asking me why I'm here. Deng Yuking, I really misjudged you. Wang Hao glared fiercely at you. His words were sharp and full of sarcasm. Beside him, Fatty Chen stared as you got out of the luxury car. His eyes were almost bulging at your impressive style. We broke up just this morning, and this afternoon you're already hooking up with someone else. You're such an innocent girl, aren't you? Deng Yuking was so angry she wanted to talk back, but she suppressed her emotions. She wanted to first explain the situation to you. However, before she could speak, you raised your hand to stop her. I'll give you 5 minutes. After saying that, you didn't spare them another glance. Under the escort of bodyguards, you got into the luxury car. Wang Hao and Fatty Chen, I never expected you to react like this. They came here to show off, and planned to expose Deng Yuking's weakness right in front of you, to humiliate him. But you didn't even take the bait, not even batting an eye. Wang Hao, instead of taking good care of your mother, what are you doing here meddling? Deng Yuking saw that you were already in the car, and quickly seized the chance to speak. Wang Hao heard that, and instantly flared up. Deng Yuking, if you had met someone else after we broke up, I'd have nothing to say. But what is this now? You haven't even officially split, and you're already hooking up with a new man. Do you think that's something to be proud of? You weren't like this before. Wang Hao's tone carried a hint of disappointment, and his voice softened a little. You know, rich guys like him are never short of women. He's nice to you now, but one day he'll get bored and kick you to the curb. What are you after? Even if I really get dumped, it's still better than wasting my time with you. Deng Yuking finally couldn't hold it in anymore, and interrupted him directly. Wang Hao, stop lying to yourself, okay? President Chen has looks, money, and talent. What's wrong with being with him? Even if he throws me away someday, that's my choice. It's still better than spending my whole life with you, not even affording a decent meal. You need 20,000 for your mother's treatment, right? I'll transfer it to you right now, he said, pulling out his phone, and slid his finger across the screen. 20,000 yuan was immediately transferred to Wang Hao's account. Then he took the successful transfer screen, and flashed it in front of Wang Hao. This is the breakup fee. It's from me to you, he said word by word, pointing a finger from himself to Wang Hao. It's rare for a woman to throw money at a man. From now on, we're even, no more ties. Let's just leave it at that. After saying that, without looking back, he lifted his foot and walked toward your luxury car. However, at that moment, the system in your mind suddenly chimed with a ding. Successfully snatched the protagonist's ex-girlfriend. The direction of the plot begins to change. Obtain 300 villain points. Villain points have reached the standard for skill extraction. Extract immediately. Not yet. You originally just wanted to take Deng Yuking as a wife. To solve the trouble with Tangzu, never expected to pick up other benefits on the side. That Wang Hao is clearly Deng Yuking's ex-boyfriend. You could tell that at a glance, but the system actually said he successfully snatched the protagonist's ex-girlfriend. That is to say, Wang Hao is the protagonist of this story. So now he's at most a rich second generation that the protagonist tramples on. Script system, skin for me. Seeing Deng Yuking walking this way, you quickly lock onto Wang Hao with your peripheral vision. Scan complete. Name, Wang Hao. Luck value, 72. Target's luck is on the rise. Current value cannot be accurately measured. You see that luck of 72 points. I almost thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. But when that guy in the line below popped up, you immediately snapped back to reality. This guy is 80% likely to have just found the protagonist's system fate. It hasn't fully erupted yet. So right now, he hasn't started his counterattack and turnaround. The thing is, this world actually has more than one protagonist. You lightly clicked your tongue in your heart. Although this nagging villain doesn't have many points this time. At least it's a bit of a clue. Sorry about that, President Chen. I kept you waiting. You glanced at Wang Ho, who was still standing there frozen. Too lazy to bother any further. You directly told Li Jun to drive off. That guy standing there just now, he's your boyfriend. Oh, President Chen. We used to have a few meals together, watched a movie, at most held hands. Listening to Deng Yuking's incessant explanations, you chuckled lightly. Don't panic. I was just asking casually. Even if there really was something between you two, I wouldn't take it seriously. Let's go pick out some clothes first. Deng Yuking quickly nodded. Wang Hao, a commoner turned protagonist type, is much easier to deal with than those all-powerful cheaters, so you're not even as good as Xiaoman. Have you talked with President Chen? Taking advantage of the moment you closed your eyes to rest, Deng Yuking secretly sent a message to her best friend. How do you know about this? Qiu Xiaoman was startled. Don't worry about how I know. I just want to know how much breakup fee he gave you. Alright, but you absolutely can't tell anyone. If you dare to blab, we'll stop contacting each other. I swear I won't tell a third person. 1 million yuan. Not only did he give me a bunch of stuff, but he also threw me 1 million when we broke up. Seeing the number 1 million, Deng Yuking was stunned. He never expected the rich to be so generous. Based on his current salary, he'd have to work non-stop for nearly 10 years without eating or drinking. Seeing that number, he felt completely at ease. He chatted a bit more with Qiu Xiaoman, then quickly put away his phone. After all, he had to take good care of his sugar daddy. By the way, how did you meet Tangzu? You suddenly asked from the back seat. Deng Yuking quickly replied, he and my colleague are from the same hometown. We went out a few times and got familiar. What do you do now? And what's your relationship with Qiu Xiaoman? I run a small stall downtown, doing some business. Xiaoman and I were classmates in college. We've always had a good relationship. Deng Yuking answered frankly. You nodded lightly, and didn't ask further. Because, logically speaking, when the protagonist rises, his ex-girlfriend is bound to become a stepping stone. This also means that Deng Yuking, as a pawn, can not only play a role against Lin Fengnai, but might also drag the snow to